In this episode of the Leadership Speak series, I speak with Dr. Naveen Dang, founder and chairman of Dr. Dang's Lab. Dr. Dang's Lab is known to be one of the best quality diagnostic labs in the country, having begun its journey with a small financial investment and a 400 square feet area. He developed the facility to a nationwide medical service that has played a crucial role in saving lives during the COVID pandemic. Despite his amazing success as an entrepreneur, Dr. Dang firmly believes that his medical services must not be seen as a business. He considers himself a doctor first, with his loyalty always for the patients and not just for making profit. Let's hear Dr. Dang's leadership story in the 8th episode of Leadership Speaks. So my first question for you is, what motivated you to become an entrepreneur instead of continuing at the esteemed All India Institute of Medical Science?
Rehan, I would like to start by saying one thing, that I'm a doctor. I love my profession. I love my patients. I chose to be a doctor. I was not forced to be a doctor. I was working in one of the most prestigious government organizations, government hospitals. But there was a letdown. One, in the hospitals those days, especially in lab medicine, the samples were treated like samples, not like patients. But this I means to say that we used to be receiving samples, process and give the reports. There's no personal interaction with the patients. That is something which I yearned for. That is what something which I wanted. That's what was something which I loved. Number two, lab medicine was a growing specialty. There was a massive vacuum, but the need and dependence on diagnostics were rising every day. Those days, there were only 4 private hospitals in Delhi. And there were only a handful of labs. The waiting for the reports used to be long. To enable the patients and the doctors to take proper corrective actions in diagnosing the patients required a fast turnaround time. So, with the pillars of giving quality service, fast reports, with a personalized interaction with the patients and doctors, which would empower them to take timely decisions, was something which motivated me to step out and start on my own.
Wow, that's very interesting. So Dr. Dang's Lab is now a household name, somewhere you went for the smallest test or most critical diagnosis. How has your business changed in the past 2 years during COVID?
Coming of COVID was a game changer. To be very honest, none of us had even heard the name COVID. We did not know what COVID was. Till March, when we were asked by the government to join hands with the government sector and help provide diagnostic services to the patients. What was the first step? The first step for anything is education. First step was to learn about the subject, to learn about COVID. So me and my team were totally motivated and charged up. We read about it. And with cooperation from every other lab, from my teachers, etc., from my colleagues, when I call teachers, that does not mean senior teachers, because people senior to me. Well, are hardly not active. Teachers meet even juniors. You learn from anybody, everybody. We learned and we set up the facility for COVID testing in the shortest possible time and were able to provide quality service with rapid turnaround times within a matter of a few days. So from 27th March to be exact, 2020, within a matter of few days, we were able to start and provide a requisite service to the patients.
Right. I think for a lot of businesses adapted to the new pandemic, and they change their business ways and they change how they run their business due to the pandemic. So
Yes.
my next question for you. So how do you stay up to date? How do you stay up to date with new developments in the pathology field?
Rehan, when you are talking to me, first, I want to make it very clear to you as well as the audience that let us stop calling the medical profession a business or an industry. A doctor-patient relationship is sacrosanct. My duty and the duty of most of the doctors is to give the best to the patients as a service. And that is what it should be. From that time, your question coming back to the question, everything changed. Patients stopped coming to the clinic. The routine work fell down phenomenally. We suffered immense financial losses, but that was okay. That's what everybody was facing. It was a war going on with a hidden enemy. We did not know that time the magnitude of the problem, that what kind of problem we are going to face, what kind of problem the patient are going to suffer from. If you see the last 1.5 years, everything, the whole concept of COVID virus, even how it is transmitted, how it is to be treated, how it should be managed has changed. I remember those days, initially when it was everybody was told to take hydroxychloroquine, coming to other drugs, even plasma donors we were looking for, I remember. But now all these things have gone off the list. So it has been a constant learning process for all of us. And how do you learn? Well, nothing was in books. Learning was from each other. The learning was from different international organizations, which I kind of ingratiated myself with. Learning from scientists, and above all, keeping your mind open to the changes which are there. So, changes brought in from the patients coming to the clinic, we had to go and collect the samples from home. The whole concept, at least in my lab, 90% of the patients used to be working. Now, in the last 1.5 years, everything has changed. Patients are still reluctant to come to the lab. There is that fear psychosis. Yes, now we get about 20-30% patients coming to the clinic, but still, the emphasis has now changed to home collection. It has saddened me because my personal interaction with the patients has decreased. The touch and feel, that gentle pressing the hand to the patient, that you'll be fine soon. To wipe the tears of the child, which I always was very much involved in with the patients, those things have decreased. But we have to change with the times. Now, the lab is going to the patient's house to collect the samples and not the other way around. That has been the major change.
Right.
And lots of tests we have had to drop from a menu of tests. Why? Because the demand decreased. Worldwide, the supplies have been affected. As you must have read even in today's newspapers, that even in England, shelves are empty for even for essential commodities. Here also, we have faced a crunch of decrease or not proper supply of the chemicals which we have to use for doing the test. So all these things have kind of changed our mindsets, but we have to change the times.
Right, sir. I think everyone's business has changed throughout the last 1.5 years drastically. So my next question for you is, sir, how do you stay up to date with new developments in the pathology field?
Like I just answered this question to you. The question and the answer is that we have to only keep on reading, attending webinars, speaking to people, both India and abroad, going in for journals, doing our own proper research work, being a part of various different organizations and committees, etc. So that is the only way. Education is the only way. There's no other way that we can update ourselves. And that's what our endeavor and effort has been till now.
Right. So my next question for you is, what is one book you enjoy and cherish the most, and which one would you recommend for my age group?
You are 18,
Because I'm 14.
14. Okay. For 14, I recommend only one book, Paulo Coelho's Alchemist. If you've not read it till now, I think you must. It may be a little complex for a 14-year-old smart young man, but if you put a mind to it, why I'm recommending this is the small thin book with not too many high-phone jargons in it, but it is very pertinent to an ambitious person like you and to the audience who want to see this, because I can say that what means that we can do it. We just have to put our mind to it. So The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho for a 14-year-old is something what I would recommend.
I'll definitely read that book. I'll just order it and put my mind to it and read it. And my last question for you is, what is your number one tip for youngsters like me who wish to be in the medical field or in the entrepreneurial field when they grow up?
I won't give one advice, but I give a couple of advices because one is too short. First, please remember that you're a doctor and the loyalty is toward the patient, irrespective of whatever the patient's financial situation is. And even in the year 2021, honesty is the best policy. And I quote from that 1936 George Bernard Shaw book called Doctor's Dilemma, where he said that every doctor should know how to say, I don't know. So if you don't know anything, be upfront and say, I don't know. Take a second opinion, ask for help. But just do not treat or manage a patient by intuition. Read about it, learn about it, be open to take a second opinion.
I'll definitely keep that in mind when I'm later on in my entrepreneurial years. Thank you so much for meeting with me and answering these questions. They helped a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Rehan.
And that concludes my chat with Dr. Naveen Dang, founder and chairman of Dr. Dang's Lab. Here are two of my key learnings. First, we must stop calling the medical profession a business. If you are planning to build a career in a medical related field, always remember that a doctor's loyalty must lie with the patient. Making profit cannot be our main goal or motivation. Second, every doctor should say or know how to say, I don't know. I think this is very good advice, not just for doctors, but for all aspiring leaders of tomorrow. We must be humble enough to ask for help when we ourselves may not know. A true leader knows their own limits and is always ready to turn to other experts or get a second opinion to solve problems effectively. This is the ninth in a series of my interviews with people who have achieved great success in life. If you enjoyed watching, please do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll be releasing my next Leadership Speaks podcast very soon. Till then, think positive, have big goals, and focus on the road ahead.